Welcome to the bottom of the rabbit hole. Salute to all the Matrix University subscribers for checking in. You are appreciated. In this video, co-director James McTeigue talks a little Matrix 4. And if this is your first time down here, or you simply want to know everything about the Matrix media, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on any Matrix 4 updates. It remains to be true that whenever we see Tiger Chen in the public eye, that means there will be more Matrix 4 news coming soon. This time, the Hard Out podcast caught up with James McTeigue. I'll leave a link to the full interview in the description, but let's focus in on the Matrix-related highlights.
This past almost 2 years, I guess, getting on to 2 years, I've been doing Matrix 4. So I slid straight from Messiah into Matrix 4. And, you know, we got started, we had a little hiccup with the pandemic. But
yeah, I was going to say, how's the pandemic been affecting your Matrix 4 shoot?
We were just about to get going just as the pandemic hit. We were probably like 2 weeks. We shot a bunch of stuff in San Francisco, you know, early in 2020, in the early months of 2020. And then after we did the location stuff there, we were shifting to Berlin to do all the studio stuff. And just as we were about to start the studio stuff, the pandemic hit. So we went down for about 2 months. I came back to Los Angeles where I live. And then we got back up and going with a whole, you know, different set of protocols. We actually, I think because we were one of the first larger Hollywood films to get going, we established a whole bunch of protocols on how to shoot, and we went off and did it. So we shot in the middle of the pandemic, which was kind of
trailblazing as always on those Matrix
films. Right, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, you know, like talking about trailblazing, the last time, we had to go around with the Matrix, it was 9/11. So it's kind of, you know, circular. Every time you make a Matrix, watch out for some, you know, worldwide event.
That's
right.
That's Mr. Smith in the real Matrix trying to shut you guys down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Absolutely right. Trying to
blow in the lid.
Yeah. But it's
so,
dark.
Of course, we're not even going to pump you for spoilers, any shit like that on the Matrix. We wouldn't be so rude. But you're AD on it again, right? First AD?
No, I'm not. I mean, I haven't done that for a long time now.
What are you doing on the Matrix exactly? Just second unit directing? What?
No, we sort of co-direct. Me and
really? Nice.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice. How, we've had a long history together. You know, I did the first Matrix as an AD, as you pointed out, and I did the second and third one as an AD, and then that was when I stopped ADing. So I stopped ADing in about 2003, I guess. And ever since then, I've been directing, and you know, this is the first one that Lana has not done with her sister Lily. So, you know, in the way that we sort of did Sense8 together, where we sort of like, you know, co-direct, and you know, I guess, you know, in the way that the Directors Guild works, that you can't have two people
sole credit,
unless you're of the same surname. So I get a producer credit, you know, much like the way in the guys that the John Wick franchise did. But so that's what I've been doing. So it's been nice to, you know, doing this movie is like 23 years of my history taken up.
It's amazing. Crazy self-reflective time and everything, you know.
Oh my God, you know, like some days you're there like going, what? You know, like, okay, you just feel this this flow through everything that you've just ended up, and you go, wow, how did I end up here doing the Matrix again? But, you know,
circle.
Because people fucking love the Matrix.
Right.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I just, you know, but I had a, you know, like my experience of coming back was all great, right? Like, you know, me and Lana said, okay, you know, we're going to do it. Let's do it. But
any Star Wars stories you got, any Matrix stories, throw them into the mix.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I was just about to say, you know, my experience coming back to the Matrix was good. And, you know, like, you know, me and Lana, I think we're like in a really good place about coming back. I'd like to talk about Matrix 4 for a sec. We never rehearsed, to tell you the truth. We would just go, okay, you're going to be over there and you're going to be over there, but you know, if that's not good, we'll just correct it on the next take. And that's what you do. That is the beauty of digital, right? If you know you have to junk the first take, right? It's no big deal, even if you're shooting something high speed, right? You know, because I remember like on the first Matrix stuff, we'd shoot stuff at 150 frames, 300 frames. And there'd always be this tension, right? As you heard the film just start to go,
Never considered that. Interesting.
Oh my God,
you can actually hear the camera.
Tension, And so now, like you shouldn't digital, you don't care, right? Just go, okay, do another one at 300 frames. Who cares? Do another one at 150. And I think it also, like your workflow after as well, once you get into editorial, right? It's a bit of more of a pain, right? Because they have to comb through more material.
Yeah.
But you pretty much know what you want generally, what.
And at least it's on a computer and not like actually cutting literal film, that makes it easier.
Yeah.
Are you guys working off storyboards, or are you completely improvising just once you get the set?
No, I think a lot of, it is in the prep, right? I mean, I think that is a truism of the film industry, right? So, you take a movie that has scale, like The Matrix, and, you have to do previs, and I don't mean like computer generated previs, but you're working out the aesthetic of the movie, right? So on this movie, on Matrix 4, we probably had about 15 artists, I guess, like concept artists, storyboard, concept art.
That's fun.
And so, it's fun. And in the process of like working that out, as you're working that out, how does this look? What's that? What's that person doing? Where are they situated? And then to actually work out some of that concept art, you do storyboards, just so you go, oh, right. So, that needs to be there. And, this piece of machinery needs to be here. And that building, would be great in that street. And so in that early process of like doing the concept art, doing some, storyboard work to work out the concept art, you start cementing, all that narrative in your head and your aesthetic and, your visualization of, like what the film will be. So for a good part of it, once you get to set and you shoot something, once you go back to the concept art or the thumbnail storyboards you've done, they're pretty close because you just now have it in your head.
Yeah, internalize it.
Now, having said that, the first, second, and third Matrix are completely different. The whole of the first Matrix was storyboarded because they couldn't get Lana and Lily back then. They couldn't get anyone to bankroll the movie. And the only way they eventually got to bankroll the movie is by making a graphic novel of the first movie, right? So you can hold up the storyboards from the first movie, like frame for frame, and they would shoot it frame for frame, right? Like they would like hold up their storyboards and, then you'd lens up and that would be, what we shot. And then in the second and third movie, there's like storyboards again, and then there was this whole pre-visualization, which was like for the Battle of Zion. That was a whole computer generated, thing, 15-minute segment that was, our composer is Tom Tickfer, the guy who the director who does, Run Roll Run and
totally.
And the International and all
that's
that.
how you pronounce his name. All right.
Yeah. And like that, Run Loddle Run was also one of the first to really utilize techno, right? Like you guys were just saying.
Propulsive, yeah. And
and music is, like, as you guys know, you're filmmakers, like you can feel like you go, oh my God, this scene, oh my God, how did I did everything wrong. And then you put a piece of music to it, you go, oh my God, I'm a genius. I like that. And so, like to do the music at the moment, like with Tom, he just like hears things as a musician that I'm like, how do you hear that? I've made a lot of movies with a lot of music, but he just has like this ear. You just go, oh my God. Yeah, he's, truly that. And this, this score is like, it's amazing. He has a, like the process and as a filmmaker, and it's a truly liberating process, is he records the orchestra and writes the music before you even shoot, right? Like, so
crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So
Wow.
you never have to.
Can serve as inspiration for the actual creative side too. I imagine if you already can have sort of a soundtrack to
Yeah,
you
you
know,
have
to
like you have
film against or write against.
Yeah, correct. Because you have themes, right? Like you have them like going around in your head, and then once you get into the editorial process, right, you never have to temp anything. All you do is temp with the music that's been written for the movie.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah,
Oh, it's so like fun.
and there's so many happy accidents too, like the Dark Side of the Moon with the Pink Floyd and Wizard of Oz. You know that you just can almost pair any piece of music up, and you'll find these moments where it lines up perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, Lily Wachowski came in, we were making the second movie, and she said, "Hey, someone told me you can pair up 'Wish You Were Here' to the Matrix." And
oh yeah, did you try it?
What's that?
Did you guys try it?
I didn't try it. I think she tried it, but I didn't try it. I'm like, wow, really? That sounds good. I think it was like when we like did the like the 40 car pile up, and we had I was on the back of the tracking vehicle. We had like 5 cameras that were gonna, the agent jumps from one car and lands on the other, and it like flies up into the air, and all these cars like come crashing into it. And so I had this whole system. Like if I got to this big exit, Wabash Avenue exit, and all the cameras weren't rolling, I'd call like abort, right? And so we were shooting all high speed, and there's like, people all over the back of the training vehicles, and we start to roll, and all the stunt guys are in there, and there's all the pyrotechnic all loaded up in the cars to jack the cars up in the air and make them flip and fly and catch on fire and that. And then, we're going down, and one camera rolls and the other camera rolls, and I'm looking up at the sign coming up, and the third camera rolls, and then one camera goes, "Not rolling," and then the other camera goes, "Not rolling," and then I go,
and everything's in motion.
Everyone aboard. And then I'll never forget, like we come screaming to a halt, and we'd been pulling the car that was going to flip up into the air with this cable, and they snapped the cable between the tracking vehicle and the car without the engine, and the cable starts whipping all over the place, and everyone
be careful with that.
Yeah, everyone like comes to this stop, and everyone's like good. I'll never forget, all the car doors of all the cars come up, and I remember about 40 stunt guys all walking down the freeway to me, like they're totally like amped up. They're all like, they're like, what the fuck?
Because their like hearts are pounding and adrenaline's going, and then just kind of
like they're all in fire suits and helmets.
This guy was just about to hit the pyro button.
But then we went off and we did it, and we crashed like 30 cars, and then we didn't get something. We did it all over again the next day.
Are you guys doing physical stunts and shit like that on this film, or is it all CGI based?
No. We've come full circle, right? Like we were the first people really, like on the Matrix. I don't want to sound too grandiose here, but we were one of the first people to, like make films in a green box, right?
Right. Now,
all those Marvel movies, to take an example, they make them all in a green box because I don't think they can get all the actors together all at once, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But we've totally gone the other way. We're like, okay, in this movie, in Matrix 4, and you can look at it on the internet, we got Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity and Neo, to jump off a 45-story building, right, for real, right? And so we're like, because there's something in that physicality that you cannot, I'm here to tell you cannot match.
Yeah.
It's like on their faces, it's in like,
it's good to hear. I agree.
In the way they're flying, right? And those guys, much to their
Who was
credit,
more scared, Carrie Ann or Keanu? Who was more scared?
They were both amazing. Talk about an adrenaline rush. The first morning we did it when we did it at dawn, and we did it over successive days, right? The first day she did it, when they reeled Carrie Ann back up, I'm like, all right, you jumped off as Carrie Ann and you came back up as Trinity. She was like, the change in her face was like, it's like incredible. It was like so incredible. And they did it. They jumped off that building like 15 times. It was like amazing.
That's crazy.
So there were a few confirming takeaways here I'd like to discuss. First is that James McTeigue is in fact co-directing The Matrix 4. Second, McTeigue also confirmed that Tom Twyker, which I now believe is pronounced Tickford, is currently working on the music for The Matrix 4. In our last live stream, Matrix comic and Matrix online writer Paul Chadwick asked us about composer Don Davis, so it was very exciting to hear McTeigue confirm the previous Matrix 4 detective work regarding the composer's replacement for Project Ice Cream. Third, and most notably, McTeigue confirmed that the leaked stunt scene of the two actors jumping off the skyscraper rooftop in San Francisco was done by Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. Let me know in the comments if you would be interested in another live stream following up on the implications of what this scene could mean for Neo and Trinity in the Matrix 4. Be sure to sign up for the Project Matriculated Premiere Party event, and remember, as one realizes that one is a dream figure in another person's dream, that is self-awareness.